for the physician treating a patient in real time, if they haven't responded by 2 cycles, what are the population of patients who are most likely to respond? And those were really kind of 2 most important things that were identified were patients who had leukemic blast reduction within the first 2 cycles, obtaining that morphologic leukemia-free state in particular. About 40% of patients who ultimately went on to get a response after 2 cycles had that MLFS happen earlier within the first cycle or 2. And then also the type of AML, whether it was de novo or secondary. And in particular, secondary patients were less likely to have a response thereafter. And so there was this, it was called a CART model, a CAR-T model, where they looked at these different characteristics. And so in general, if you had a MLFS or you were a newly diagnosed de novo AML patient, you still had a very reasonable likelihood of responding in subsequent cycles. And then, the other question is, if you respond later, is your response not as good? Does it not last as long, or is your survival impacted? And what was nice to see in this study was that the median overall survival in both groups, no matter when you had your response, was really quite impressive. It was over 18 months, and it was 18 months or over in both of those arms, with a 1-year estimated overall survival of about 75% and an estimated 2-year overall survival of about 50% for both groups, suggesting that if you were able to obtain a remission after cycle 3 or cycle 4, that was still a very important endpoint.